Good morning. How are you? It's Monday, October 20th. Not that that makes any difference. So listen, I watched my Giants choke yesterday. I mean, I'm sorry. They had a great defense and they ended up choking. I don't know what caused it. Where the bad calls come from. Was it the coach? I don't know. I have no idea what was going on. But I do know that they choked. All right? So let's keep going along here. Well, you saw George Santos was released. He's in jail for fraud, but he's a Republican. So naturally, he called Trump up and said, "Hey, listen, my man, I can't do time like this. I got to get out." So Trump let him out. Trump has made a mockery of law. He's made a mockery of the Supreme Court and the justice system. And he continues to make a mockery of himself, which we all know. But, I don't know what's going to happen there either, They did find a suspicious hunting stand in a tree with line of sight of Air Force One. So you never know, It said, according to what they said, it's been there for a long time. It wasn't built yesterday. So that may not mean anything. I watched Trump try to use it to declare martial law. Because after this weekend, he saw all those 7 million people marching against him. I think he's got the idea that the public doesn't like him anymore. And they're about ready to stop putting up with his bullshit. Now, out of that 7 million people that were doing that, you probably got a couple 100,000 that are willing to fight him. Go to the streets and battle it. Trump can't handle that. Because the military is not the entire military. It's going to respond favorably to Trump's orders to shoot to kill. So that means that they're quite possibly they're going to, take the other side, But as I said, let's start it out with the Santos release proves one thing. If you're a Republican, you can pretty much get away with anything these days. What else is going on? Oh, you can stop taking polls because Trump doesn't care anymore. You think they affect him. And the psychologists say, oh, he can't stand that. He gets upset when he gets bad publicity or bad polls. I don't think he cares anymore. I think he realizes he's in a position where you can't do anything about it. Polls don't mean shit to him anymore. That's what it's all about. And I don't know what you're going to do about that. Everybody's got to sit down and think about what's going to happen next. Are we going to listen to this guy? Are we going to let this guy get away with this stuff? And apparently we are. So, you guys that think that's right, whatever. But if the people that are sitting around and say we shouldn't be violent, you're right. Violence isn't going to solve anything, really. But to sit around and expect that, you're going to be able to defeat him in 2026 and that he's actually going to let these people be sworn in and, it's not going to happen, All you're going to do is make him run in 2028. Maybe it might take a few more years than he expected to be in total control, but he'll get it unless you stop him now. Unless you convince the powers that be that he's not sane and that the people supporting him aren't sane. The Thules, the Stephen Millers, the Vances and whatnot. These people need to be. You can't just have them there. You know, he's destroying the country's health with Robert Kennedy Jr., which I'm totally surprised about because I would have expected more from him in line with where his father was, but apparently not. He's just another scumbag politician. You know, I told you that before. I don't like politicians. I don't think they can. You can get them if you can get them to do what you want to do, fine. But in the long run, I just don't think they can be trusted. And the prime example of that is J.D. Vance. When he sat there and he said, okay, he said that Trump was Hitleristic, that Trump was very much similar to Hitler, his desires and whatnot. And then he went and he kissed Trump's ass so that he could be vice president. I think that, you know, that two-faced personality of his is going to hurt the government if he's in charge of it even more than Trump's. You know, and Trump isn't two-faced. He's just an asshole. All right. Let's keep this going now. I said stop taking the polls because he doesn't care. He honestly doesn't care. You know, he's not. It's not going to affect him one way or the other. He's off trying to be a hero with Russia, and that's not going to happen because Putin's smarter than him. And now he's beginning to realize he's been played in the past by Putin, and he thinks he's smart enough that he can handle that. No, he's not. I'm sorry, he's not smart enough. His ego is such that a few compliments here and there, and you know it's all over with. You know. So. All right, going on next, there was a big robbery, I guess, over the weekend. I don't know whether it was Friday or Saturday or when it was, but they hit the Louvre, the big famous museum in Paris, France, that they spent millions of dollars on upgrading and whatnot. They were in and out in 7 minutes or something like that, really, really fast. And they stole his jewelry that's priceless. And you can go to CNN or somebody else and look up what jewelry was taken, because I don't have. I saw pictures of it, and the only way they're going to get any money for that stuff is if they break it down, and then they'll get about 35 cents on the dollar. Because they can't, its province doesn't mean anything anymore. Once they take it apart, the jewelry is worth what it is, and the settings and everything else. Once they start to take it apart to sell the diamonds and whatnot that are there, it won't be priceless anymore. There'll be a price tag on it. I'm not sure what it is, but you know there'll be a price tag on it, and it's just not worth the same amount of money. You know, had they been smart enough, they would have had a buyer for the jewelry. Some, you know, billionaire like Thule or I'm trying to think, what's his name, Bezos, somebody like that, you know, that's got more money than they know what to do with, and then they just take it and they put it in a display case in their house, and nobody sits, and it's never seen again. Which they're saying now, well, it will never be seen again. But what are you going to do, you know? And that's kind of stupid because, like I said, the only way they make good money, if they didn't have a contract to take it to start with, the only way they make good money with that stuff, really, really outrageous money with that, is if they can sell it as intact, you know, to some sort of collector somewhere in the world. And that, I just don't think that's going to happen. I think they'll get caught. The guys will get caught. I don't think the jewelry will be completely recovered because I think they will break it down and sell off the stones one by one, you know. And again, this has to all be done already. You know, otherwise they'll be caught in a couple of days. If not, then it was done. It was all set up already. How they're going to get rid of it and everything. They know that exactly how much they're going to get for it. They know that. So it's another one of these. Something's wrong. It's another one of these deals that they think they're smart and they're not. The smart part was robbing the place. The rest of it is the hard part. Robbing is walking out with something is a lot easier than trying to get rid of it after you've gotten it, possessed it and whatnot. It's just not the same. But we'll have to wait and see with that one. Now, we all know that Trump's blowing up boats outside Venezuela and claiming they're drugs. No drugs, to my knowledge, have been found on those vessels. So we don't know that's a true statement. We have to wait and see there. But I don't think it's a true statement. I think the president of Colombia, where I live, is claiming that it was they killed a long-term family fisherman, which is possible. I mean, these guys are, they don't identify. I don't know where they're getting their intel on the boats. Just because the boat happens to be in a certain set of water. I don't know what they're seeing that makes them want to target these boats. They're not releasing any of that information. There's no drugs been found or recovered so far as I know. And that's basically what they're doing, is they're committing maritime murder. They've broken most of the maritime laws. And that's Donald Trump. And the problem you have there is that this is the old, well, we were just following orders routine, I don't know about that, folks. There's a lot of hatred in the world. That's the problem. That's what's going on. There's just a lot of hatred in the world. So, takes care of that. I start off telling you my Giants choked. They really did. They had that game. They were up 19-0. Then I think it was 28-6. The next thing you know, they're losing the game 30-something to 30-something on the last second play. It shouldn't have happened. It's almost like they threw the game at the end. I don't know how that's going to affect the team, but they choked. They did. There's no other way to say it. They got full of themselves, and then the next thing they know, they were, trying to win a fight they couldn't win. That's just a shame. I think Dart's a good quarterback. I don't think he's they don't ever get the really true superstar. I mean, Eli Manning wasn't a true superstar. He was a better than average quarterback, but I'm not sure he was a superstar. Superstars are guys like Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers and whatnot. These guys that can take a half-assed team and produce wins and produce championships. And they get a mentality. And it's not all, look, it's Andy Reid, Mahomes, Travis Kelce, a few other people that have been on that team that have made the Kansas City Chiefs what they are. But it's eventually, they're not going to be able to keep rebuilding because America doesn't like dynasties. So something will happen. Mahomes gets older, and you keep going. As far as I understand it with football players and athletes, is that you reach a point where competition and money just don't make any difference anymore. You're the best at what you've done. You've done everything you can possibly do. What else can you accomplish? And that's what happens to guys that win the Super Bowl. they're never this. They never come back. The teams never come back the same way the next year, for the most part. I mean, there are a lot of exceptions. You know, Dallas, San Francisco. They'll win a division or something, but they defenses catch on to them, and the players get older, and there's a certain amount of loyalty that comes into these players, and that's, you know, that hurts them in the long run. So, what can I say? All right, it's Monday. I'm depressed because of the Giants, but that's, you know, neither here nor there.